Central. Legal Central was a service I started about 15 years ago when I started becoming a notary in and out of the LA County jails, the state and federal prisons. And it was done because I saw how when people were engaging law enforcement, they really didn't know how to do it, what to do, what to say, what not to say. When people go to jail, there are different things that are available to them. Putting money on their books. Now you ask yourself, why does someone in jail need money on their books? Well, it's very simple. If they want to call their relatives, they have money on their books. They can buy a phone card, and it's an account number. And then they can dial the 800 number, punch in their account number, then punch in the number that they're going to call. Depends on how much time you're going to be on the phone, determines how much money you're going to put on their books. LA County Jail will limit you to $300 per day on their books. I don't know how many people can put $300 on their books every day and how much they can really spend, but you get the idea. Ramen noodles are a big delicacy in the county jails and the state prisons. It's done through a commissary type of network, and you purchase like maybe cupcakes, ramen noodles, whatever, and these things come to you. Some of the women, they're buying shampoo, they're buying undergarments, because let's face it, the county jail is not going to provide you with the best things. Now, the other reason Legal Central was formed is to try and educate people when it comes to encountering the jail. Like if you get arrested and you're trying to bail out, you know, what are your options? What can you do? Some of them can put you on a pay plan. Depends on your options, what's available. What was the charge? What's your background? Have you been arrested before? These are things that a bail bondsman would want to know. And this is where Legal Central comes in to try and educate you on what you're what you're in for. And I don't mean physically in the jail, I mean what lies ahead. So when you're talking to the bondsman, he'll want to know things like, have you been arrested before? What have you been arrested for now? How much is your bail? What is your charge? It's usually under a penal code or maybe a VC for vehicle code. Just because you get arrested for a DUI doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be staying in jail. Sometimes they will just let you wait it out and they will OR you. Not always the case. Sometimes it's a felony. You hit somebody's car, grave bodily injury, they keep the car for evidence. And if it's not your car, the owner's not going to be too happy because they're going to have to pay this towing and the storage fees for that car to be in there. And it's usually about $200 for it to be towed, and it's about $75 to $125 each day it's in there. Oh yeah, and there's a citation that has to go with that vehicle as well. So there's a lot to be understood. Sometimes when you go to county jail and you go to state prison, a certain amount of money is taken. If you have any money on your books, it's taken from you. And you're only left with a certain percentage when you go to the state. They get to a level what's called an SP4, the person who is in custody. After case has been settled and they're not going to appeal it, even though they have 30 days afterwards, they start going through stages, SP1, SP2, SP3. Once they hit SP4, they leave LA County Jail and they go to the state prison. And they're in what's called reception for about 3 months, about 90 days. And then they send them wherever they're going to send them. They usually start with Kern, the Kern State Prison, the one in Kern County, and which I've been to several times. I've been to many state institutions and 2 federal, MDCLA in downtown Los Angeles and Terminal Island down in San Pedro, which, yeah, Al Capone actually spent some time there in the late 30s when he got released from Alcatraz. He was there for about maybe 10 months. So anyway, getting back to Legal Central, there are things that you want to understand when you're in the system. You're at the mercy of the system. When they arrest you, they will take an electronic file of your fingerprints, and it goes to the Department of Justice. Why? Ever since 9/11, and a thing called the Patriot Act, or to some people, the Unpatriot Act, and they send it off to the Department of Justice, and they really know in an instant who you are. I mean, think about your driver's license. They got your face, they got your signature, and they got a thumbprint. Everything they need. So when those fingerprints are sent off for them to do what's, your prints have to clear, as it's said in the industry, and they want to know if, are you a terrorist? You have any outstanding warrants? Do you have any holds on you? Because it could be federal, it could be state, it could be county, it could be city. One time I had to go to 77th, well, I'll just say this one station in LA, and the person had gotten arrested because they had a warrant out for their arrest. And I had to wait 3 hours, 11:30 at night till about 2:30 in the morning. And finally, the custody cleared, the person in custody. Their prints cleared Department of Justice. Only to find out the police officers who arrested him said, well, your warrant is in another city. We don't care what you did. Go get arrested over in their city. Stop tying up our budget. I mean, that's what things kind of deteriorated to. Over the years, there's been a lot of decriminalization of things. Pot, marijuana has gotten legalized by the states, but it's still a stage 1 narcotic with the federal system. And I got to believe as more of the people from these states get into more of the congressional positions, that I think someday that law will be repealed. Other things about Legal Central, we try to teach you what you're in for. One guy had to bail out. He didn't understand that he was with a company vehicle. When I bailed him out, we took him to go get the car. He wasn't the owner. So now this poor guy had to call his boss and say, hey, I got arrested for a DUI. The vehicle's in impound. I can't get it out. Either somebody from the company or a company rep has to come with the paperwork, or give somebody here in power of attorney to someone here to be able to go get the vehicle out. I don't know if he got to save his job, but he was from a Midwestern state where they didn't blow when they got arrested. But in California, if you don't blow, it's an immediate suspension of your license for about a year. And people who come here from other states, they don't always realize what they're in for. And this is what they mean when they say check the local laws, so you know what to expect. Speed limits, some things the DMV can help you out with. Maybe local law enforcement can help you out. If you're coming here to work on a job for a company, they should be able to help you. But it's kind of an oddball thing to ask somebody, what are the DUI laws in this state? What are the cannabis laws in this state? When you're supposed to be a model employee representing the company. But anyway, other things, there are things out there that you just need to be familiar with. Certain speed limits you need to adhere to. The best thing you can do when you're engaged with law enforcement is just stop the car. When you know you're going to get pulled over, put the flashers on. At least let them acknowledge, that you know that they're there. Pull over wherever you think it's safe. One time I was getting pulled over, made the exit. I pulled into the parking lot. The officer, when he finally got to me, asked me why I came to the parking lot. I said I wanted to come to a place that was safe for both of us. Why stop on the highway? Why endanger either one of our lives? And he seemed to appreciate that. Also, when you stop, make sure you put the hands on the wheel. Wait for them, because as they're walking up, they're putting that hand on your car. So if anything happens or you're gone, that police officer or whoever that law enforcement agency officer's handprint is on your car. And they can see you in that mirror. Your side mirrors, your rear view mirror, they can see you. They can see what you're doing. They're very observant. As macho as they might look as they're walking up to that window to talk to you, their stomach is turning somersaults. Oh my God, here I come. I'm coming to the moment. I'm going to see these people. Are they going to have a gun? Are they going to shoot me? Am I going to get home to see my wife and kids, my parents, whatever? Okay? And you finally get there. You have your hands on the wheel. They tap on the window. You turn and look at them. And they say, roll down. They may make a motion. Roll your window down. You just, okay, hand. Going to put it down. Say, yes, officer, whoever. Be respectful. Think before you say anything. If he asks you, do you know why I pulled you over? Oh yeah, you pulled me over for speeding. You don't know. You're not a mind reader. Maybe you got a tail light. Maybe you just made a turn. Maybe you didn't stop all the way. Or you made a turn where you weren't supposed to, and you're not familiar with the area. It depends on you. They respond to you. It's however you treat them. Be respectful. Be calm. Remember, these guys, they're very heightened as they get closer and closer to you until you bring them down. Hi, officer. How you doing? A nice day. Well, maybe if it's raining like hell and you still say nice day. How you doing? How you doing? Well, we're both out here. It's 1 o'clock in the morning and it's cold out. We should both be home, enjoying one of the better things in life, in bed. So be respectful. They respond to you. However you are with them is how they'll usually respond to you. Even if they're a little bit smart, don't give them a reason. Don't escalate it. And that comes from me I'm a court-listed anger management facilitator as well. You want to de-escalate. Stay calm. I know it's not easy. You're probably thinking, oh my God, here comes a ticket. Now my insurance rates are going to go up. Not necessarily. It depends on how you respond to the officer. Hi, how you doing? Be very neutral. Be very matter of fact. Be calm. Hey, officer, thanks for being out here today. I'm glad you're out here patrolling. It makes me feel safe. Even though he's pulling you over, he might give you a ticket. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. Hey, where are you headed to? Well, I'm heading over to here, doing this, da-da-da-da. And he may cut you off before you even finish your answer. Don't get upset. Don't get pissed off. He'll probably want to see your driver's license, registration, insurance. Now, we live in a digital world. I've actually whipped out my phone and say, okay, go into my email. Here you go. This is what my company sent me. Here's my insurance. Here's my registration. And he looked at it. He ran it. I mean, he already knows who the car belongs to because he ran my plate. And he knows that it's me because he got my ID. He sees I'm the owner. But he's still going through all these things. You could have insurance that was canceled. You shouldn't be riding around without insurance. That's not a good thing. So, be respectful. Be calm. Smile if you can. Hey, officer, how you doing today? Yeah, how we doing? This isn't the best way for us to meet. Don't be flip with them. Be very respectful. Think before you say anything. Don't worry about hesitating. If he says, they try and speed you up, just say, I'm trying to think, your officer. I'm not used to getting pulled over. I don't know what I'm getting pulled over for. Be calm. Be slow. You want to kind of control your part of the conversation as best as you can. More often than not, they will respond to it. They're in the business of trying to trip you up. Some of them will try to antagonize you. They're trying to get you to do something wrong because they feel that there's something going wrong there. Try not to have anything in the car, because even if they have a dog walking around, those dogs take cues from their owners. And if they're walking them around and they point and the dog sits down, they say, oh, the dog sat down. Well, yeah, the dog sat down because you probably cued them. They take cues from their trainers. Anyway, try to be as respectful as you can. I've had them open up my car door and they just saw the mess inside and said, oh, well, never mind. One time an officer asked me for my driver's license. I said, okay, let me go get it. And I opened up the car door. He goes, where are you going? I said, it's in the back of the car in a glove compartment. Well, what's it doing there? I said, well, that's the only time I need it is when I'm driving. He says, never mind. Close the door and keep going. There's been times when had a sick animal in the car. The officer saw it. He heard the cat, meowing, so he knew I was telling the truth. Didn't always work, but usually they'll cut you a break if you're respectful. Remember, they react to you. If you give them a hard time, they know how to give you a hard time too. Also with Legal Central, you want to know how the system is working. Now, the judge's jurisdiction really only extends to that courtroom. He could sentence you to 30 years. It's the sheriff or the warden who decides when you get out. Oh, there was one guy, he had a 30-year sentence, and he was like a plumber's assistant, and he was working with one of the guards. And the guards, he was working with, he dropped over from a heart attack. The inmate dropped everything, started giving him compressions, started doing everything, all his vitals, and he saved his life. I mean, when the other guards came in, at first they thought he was doing something wrong. Then they realized what happened later. Well, this guy happened to be a friend of the warden, this guard, and the warden reduced his sentence from like 30 years down to 2. And he had a pretty cupcake job all the rest of the time he was there. So, you've seen inmates where they've come to the guard's aid. And the justice system is not used to seeing it, and they kind of get a little tongue-tied sometimes. And I've seen some of the judges that way. One judge, he was trying to sentence a young man who was drinking alcohol. And he was only about 18. And the judge says, "Young man, you need you want to drink? Stay home and drink." And the prosecutor said to the judge, "Hey, Your Honor, the guy's 18. You got to wait till he's 21. "Oh, yes, I'm sorry. You got to wait till you're 21. So the judges are human too. Believe me, they're human. I mean, every chief was an Indian at one point in their career or another. They all started somewhere. So try not to be too intimidated by it. I mean, they have a job to do. No matter, people would ask me, gee, how do you think they'll make out? How do you think they'll do in the court today? Well, it all depends on how everything goes. One girl, she was the last case before lunchtime. And you could hear everybody kind of rattling around. They all wanted to go to lunch. You could hear the noise start, the rustle of paperwork, and the noise started to raise. And the judge was trying to decide what to do, and he just said, never mind, OR. If she'd been the first case, she might have been taken right back in. When we got in the elevator to leave the courtroom, she broke down crying. So you could see that the pressure had gotten to her. You don't want to be at the mercy of the system. Getting back to being in custody. When those prints go to the Department of Justice, they want to see if you're a terrorist. They want to see if you have any outstanding warrants. And it can really happen in a flash. I mean, if you can tell somebody's on a no-fly list in seconds, you should be able to clear somebody's prints. Why it takes hours, I don't know, but COVID seems to have been a factor in speeding things up and people getting their prints done and getting released from jail. Why hang on to them any longer than you have to? You don't want to get anything from them. So in that respect, COVID has been the custody's friend. So, as for Legal Central, it's basically an educational tool, trying to teach people what to be looking out for. When someone's arrested, you always want to know, when they call, get their booking number, get their name. Usually they're going to have a wristband, and who issued it. Now, they may be arrested by a city law enforcement agency, and they may get transferred to a county facility. Depends. For a lot of people, they want to bail out of that city facility. They don't even want to go to court. Usually you have to be there within 72 hours. But people want to bail out because the first thing they think of is, oh my God, my job. I'm going to lose my job. Some of the people we've bailed out were contractors. They had jobs to go do. They had to be on site. Some of them were entertainment providers of services to different studios. And they didn't want to lose their contracts. Yeah, sometimes when you go to bail someone out, you're bailing out the husband and wife. Sometimes you're bailing out a married couple, same-sex couple. It happens. It happens. One couple one time, the husband got arrested for a drug charge, and the wife didn't know he had the drugs on him. We're sitting there trying to run the credit card, and her credit card gets declined. And she turns to her girlfriend and says, "Hey, can I use your credit card to pay for my husband's bail?" "Yeah, sure, no problem." She hands it to him, and her husband's sitting next to her and doesn't say a word. I guess some people have better relationships than others. So she paid for his bail. When he finally comes out, she starts ragging on him right there in the station. And I go, whoa, you take him, you take her, get them separated. which is one of the other things we try to tell people when they come out of jail, which is some of the things the bail bondsmen are providing that the jail will not tell you. The bondsman will explain to you if you got an emergency protective order, which means you have to stay away from home. They'll explain it to you. That means 0 contact. You can't text them, whoever the person you're being the protective order to stay away from. You cannot text them. You cannot Facebook them. Instagram, LinkedIn, email, 0 contact. Even if they call you, you got to hang up. If they leave you a message, you can't return the call. 0 contact. Because if you respond or you try and contact them, you violated this restraining order, which means they could call the police and say, hey, guess what? This guy violated his restraining order and he sent me a text. Now your bail is probably going to be double. Usually people listen. We try to explain to them everything. The other thing when people come out of jail, hey, you're in there for a DUI. Did your car get impounded? Yeah, it did. Okay. Do you know where you have to go pick it up? Oh, no, I don't know nothing. Well, did you ask? Oh, they gave me some paperwork. Did they explain it to you? No, they tried. I'm too tired of that. Well, here, let me explain it to you. This is who you need to call. Well, I'll figure it all out tomorrow. You're going to lose another day's pay. You're going to run all over town trying to find where your car is. Because that number you call might not be where your car is. Where is it? Who knows? You may be calling a call center. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to call that number. Tell them the car, the make, model, VIN number, if you have all that information. If you're the owner, find out where it is. Then you go to that yard. Now, with some places, you have to go to the city and file an application. Pay like $100 or God knows what. You fill out that application, you pay them. They give you a copy. Depends on the situation. They'll give you a copy or they will fax that to the yard. So that way when you get there, you have your set of copies and they have their set of copies that's been sent to them. They're going to be coming to pay for this car to get it released. If they pay the fees, release it. So now you've paid the city. Now you're going to pay the tow yard. So you're going to pay for the storage, as I mentioned earlier, along with the money that paid for the towing as well. The towing and the storage fees. God knows what that'll be. And if you don't pay it, well, it'll run up and run up and run up. And then the car goes to auction, which some people have been doing. They wait till the thing goes to auction, then they go rebuy it. They try and follow it at auction. It's a nice way to spend 30 days waiting for your car to come out of an auction. But these are the things that the bondsman will provide. One guy I had to bail out. He came out. I just happened to wait long enough, was waiting for my next call, and he came out. He was in his stocking feet. He had no money, and he had no phone. So I went to the jail and I said, guys, can you just give him some temporary shoes? I mean, he's got to be walking around on the sidewalk out there. And bought him a soda, said, here's the phone. Is there anybody we can call for you? Can we call you an Uber? We got to get you home. All right, we can do that. We can get you home safe and sound. This is what the bail bondsman does and provides for people that the general public doesn't necessarily think about. And as for the bondsman, yeah, we do put people on a payment plan, but it's kind of tough because not everybody can afford to do it. When the family members do not want to come to you and come to your aid and come to your rescue, it's kind of hard for the bondsman to look down at this paperwork and see, geez, don't you have any friends? Don't you have a wife? Don't you have a husband? Don't you have a brother? Don't you have a sister? A lot of people in LA are from somewhere else. One situation was a bunch of guys came from another country. They were working on something here. One guy got arrested. They got done. The other guys got done with the project. They left to go back to their country, and this guy's still stuck here in America. Oh, well, it happens to some of us. So there are a lot of different things that you're in for when you get arrested. You're at the mercy of the system. We don't know when your fingerprints are going to clear. Some facilities are all male, and the women will be taken to one facility and the guy may be taken to another. Some jails are small enough that once they fill up, they transfer you to another facility. And then we got to figure out, well, geez, where'd they go? What happened? Or we go to one facility to post your bond and we find out that you're in transit. We have to wait since you left another facility and you're coming to another one, we have to wait for you to land. Now paperwork is started again, and we have to wait for you to be housed and updated, because now you have this facility is dealing with you. They have their paperwork to be able to track you with. They started all over again. And some women, when they get arrested, oh, I think I'm pregnant. Oh, well, let's get you out of this jail. We're going to send you to county jail. We're going to send you to the hospital. Now, the clock, is ticking when you get arrested. As soon as you tell them, oh, I think I have an ailment. Oh, I think I have high blood pressure. Oh, I think I'm pregnant. Boom. That clock stops. And now you're in the hospital. You're in wherever to see if you are pregnant, to see if you've got COVID, to see if you got high blood pressure, see if you've got diabetes, or whatever you've gotten. And once you're released and you're back in the system, they may take you back to where you were, or they may take you to a county facility. Now the clock starts all over again. They restarted the clock. It's like watching a game, and now you've gone back to the beginning of the first quarter or the first inning. A lot of people don't realize that. Or they think, oh, I'll just say I've got this or I've got that. It doesn't work. I've seen families show up to jails and say, here, we have his medication. The jail can't take that. It's the doctors inside who have to, prescribe that. Now, you may be able to write it down and say, here, this is their prescription. This is their doctor. This is their phone number. That they might be able to convey to someone, maybe, for a confirmation. Faxing and communications go back and forth. It's a lot to have to understand. Then there's your attorney. The attorney cannot get you out of jail. A bail bondsman can. A bail bondsman has the power of a judge. They're licensed. They're bonded. We can post your bonds. Now, remember, the people who are going to sign on for you, your family members, they're the ones that can turn you in because they know everything about you. So be careful who you have sign on. I mean, we had one guy, we were telling him that we talked to his wife. And we said, hey, we're going to bail out. He says, yeah, sure. He goes, well, we talked to your wife about bailing you out. He says, you talked to my wife? Yeah, never mind. Leave me in jail. I'll stay in jail. I mean, some of the relationships some of these people have. I mean, one guy we bailed out, he didn't have us call his wife. He didn't have us call anybody. He had us need to know for paperwork reasons if someone's signing on the dotted line to be responsible. So we got to really understand who is signing on, who is saying that they're responsible for the bond. Sometimes collateral has to get put up, maybe a home, maybe cash. People have 401ks. I've seen some family members really go to the mat, go in debt, thousands and thousands of dollars to be able to get people out of jail. One girl, I remember, she was from the Midwest. She flew in. She was a nurse at a prestigious facility. I'll just leave it at that. And she's on the witness stand because there was what was called a 1275 hold. Now, I'll explain what a 1275 hold means. You have to confirm, where did the funds come from? How are you getting these funds to be able to post someone's bond to get them out of jail? First thing you think of, well, a drug dealer. He's got $1 million bond. He's going to use all this drug money to post his bond. Well, no, fruits from a, poisonous tree, so to speak. So the court wants to know, where did this money come from? Where did it originate? Who is the originator? So they'll ask for bank statements. They'll ask for W-2s, maybe 1099s. They'll want to see ownership in certain businesses or in the homes. People have borrowed on their homes and just transferred the money over to the insurance company. And it's not called cash bail, it's surety bail. So I don't know where these people got this idiotic term to call it cash bail. It's called surety bail because we're putting up a bond guaranteeing your appearance to the court. And what is very conveniently forgotten is that when you don't show up to court, the court comes to the bondsman. Hey, we want our money. Now, you got 6 months to get somebody in, and you have another 6 months. Depending on the circumstances, COVID has really set a lot of things back. You want to go send a recovery team into another country, but maybe COVID won't let them out. So they're stuck. So they can't really go there. Or the government is shut down. People are working from home. Being able to get things done through other intermediaries isn't always easy. So, so as for the bail itself, someone is signing on the line as the indemnitor. You're saying that you're responsible. It's very similar to a co-signing of a loan. You're saying if they don't show up to court, you're responsible for that bond. And if you put up collateral, your house, or if you put up cash, or whatever you put up, that can be taken by the bondsman because you put up that collateral. And if the person doesn't show up to court, the bondsman has to pay that money to the court, and so does the surety company. So there's a lot more involved here than a lot of people think. I mean, usually you see people who, they look at the paperwork and they just pick something up and they just say, oh, let me read this. And they just go like this. And they go, oh, yeah, that's fine. I don't know. You know darn well they didn't understand anything they read. Some of them sit down and actually read it. Some of them don't. And as for copies, we're in a digital age. You're welcome to take a picture of everything. One time I was trying to bail someone out, and the father, the indemnitor, was not an American citizen, and he did travel back and forth to Mexico. And my concern of the insurance company was, if both of them were to leave, the company is on the hook for this money. And somebody sitting there in the family wanted to know if I was of a certain political party. Why did I have to know all these questions? Well, if you have the money in your pocket, you don't need me to be here. If it was your money on the line, what would you want us to do? How would you want to secure that bond to make sure it was covered? Remember, the bondsman has to feel comfortable and safe. And the indemnitor, whoever that person is, the family member, friends, not too many people show up at 3 o'clock in the morning. That's when you find out who your real friends are and how much you mean to certain people in the family. So they're signing on the dotted line. As I said earlier, they're the ones that are going to know you best. So if they feel that you're going to flee, you're going to run, they're the ones that are going to call the bondsman. Hey, I think they're not going to show up to court. I think they're not going to adhere to the terms and conditions of their bail. Bondsman pays what's called the fugitive recovery agent. They go and find you wherever the indemnitor tells you you are. So it's a lot more responsibility than the public thinks. All they see is the money. Well, geez, all you see is someone holding up a trophy at the Super Bowl. You think, gee, what an easy time they must have had. There they are, holding up the trophy. Oh, they got it so easy. Yeah, go see the movie Rocky. It's dark outside, cold in Philadelphia, and he's coming down the stairs, sucked down his raw eggs and orange juice, and he's out there running out on the street by himself. And you can tell by the music how it was you could tell it's a very lonely time for him because he was by himself. But as for the bail, the indemnitors, family and friends, they know you best. They're the ones that can do you in. So if you want them to bail you out again, don't burn the bridge, because the bondsmen do talk to each other. I mean, they do track you. They also have the wristbands, the ankle monitors. I know somebody who was asking about an ankle monitor. They wanted to know if it was worldwide. And the person said, yeah, it was, and they were concerned about their child being abducted. Now, everybody's carrying a cell phone, but whoever's going to abduct you is not thinking that you got an ankle monitor. They're not thinking you got a smartwatch. You can be tracked, but nobody's really thinking of those things. So one company there was called Absolute Alibi. I mean, some of these people, they say, I don't need an ankle monitor. I don't need an ankle monitor. In a word, you want one? Why? Alibi. Because when you start running that ankle monitor, and first of all, when you click that thing, it locks, and now it's monitoring. And wherever you go, it's like the line on an Etch-a-Sketch. It follows everywhere. Now you start punching in dates and times, and it takes a minute or so, and all of a sudden the board starts moving, and it shows everywhere you've been. So if anybody tries to accuse you of being somewhere, you violated parole, You violated your probation. He was over here. She was over there. Well, Your Honor, I have an ankle monitor, and here's the ankle monitor provider. We can run a report to show that the person was not in that vicinity. Here's the report, Your Honor, and it shows going back and forth when they were here, and the person is accusing them of violating parole and being over there. The monitor helps you. It can be a pain in the ass, but it's like an insurance policy. I saw one case one time where this guy was violating parole. Well, he was accused of it, and I had to go notarize some documents. The guy worked for a school, and the dean of the school, the chairman of the department, the manager that processed the payroll, I had to notarize everybody's signature, and it had the letterhead of that school on there. And the payroll records were in there. How could he be over here at 4:30 in the afternoon when his time card said he worked till 6, Your Honor? Yeah, you're right. Okay. How many times did I have to go to a doctor's office and notarize the document that said, yes, I am Dr. So-and-so, and I, prescribed for this medical marijuana card. This person is my patient. Come a long way from about 10 years ago. I can't imagine what the next 10 years are going to be about. Let's see. What else have we got? The coffee, yes. Where did I get all this energy from? Very simple. Kenergy coffee. We have the instant and we have the regular. It comes in the pouch and it comes in the jar. Just look it up online. You won't be sorry. Where do you think I got all this energy from? How about that? Till next time, be careful, be safer, be aware of what's going on around you. See you next time.